All right, welcome to our explainer. I want to start with a pretty wild idea. What if I told you that the blueprint for a cosmic plan, one that connects scripture, consciousness, and even quantum physics, could all be hidden inside a single person's birth date? So, that's the big question we're tackling today. Is it possible for someone's birthday to hold a divine code? Well, according to a framework called the AEC model, the answer is a resounding yes. So this is it, the AEC model, which stands for Awakened Ego Consciousness. And it's this idea that all these huge fields, consciousness, scripture, physics, they're not separate. They're all woven together by a very precise mathematical system. So today, we're just going to follow the model's logic and see exactly where the numbers take us. Okay, so where do we even begin? Well, the entire model is built on one foundational piece of evidence. It all starts with two versions of the same core calculation, and according to the model, they produce an absolutely stunningly similar result. It all kicks off with this number right here, 551972. That represents the birthday May 5th, 1972. But there's also a second, more precise version that includes the time of birth, 1:40 a.m. That gives us the number 551972140. We're going to need both of these, so keep them in mind. Now, this is where it gets interesting. You take that birthday and you run it through a very specific operation. You divide it by a number that the model calls the material manifestation constant, a number that, in scripture, is often called the number of man. And that number is 666. Now, the whole key here is what happens when you do the math. And the incredible claim is that it doesn't matter if you use just the date or the date with the exact time, the result points to the very same signature. Okay, so let's do it. First, the simple date, 551972 divided by 666. The answer is what you see right here, 828.786786, with that 786 repeating forever. So our two key numbers are 828 and 786. Now get this. When you use the more precise number, the one with the timestamp, 551972140, divided by 666, you get 828,786.99. It's almost exactly 1 million times bigger, but look, it still starts with 828 and is followed by 786. For the model, this is no coincidence. It's an undeniable signature. So we've got these numbers, 828 and 786, popping up all over the place. But what do they actually mean? Well, to figure that out, the model turns to biblical concordances and to gematria. That's an ancient system where letters have numerical values, so you can translate entire phrases into numbers. And when we look at 828, the model's interpretation is just fascinating. It's not one single thing. Instead, it seems to represent a powerful duality, kind of like two opposite but necessary forces working together in a much bigger plan. So on one hand, 828 points to Emperor Augustus, the sovereign king, the big, visible, worldly power. His census decree is what forces Mary and Joseph to go to Bethlehem, which perfectly fulfills the prophecy about where Christ would be born. But then, on the other hand, 828 also points to Ashpenaz, a court official who worked totally behind the scenes to protect the prophet Daniel in exile. One is the king in the spotlight, the other is the humble facilitator in the shadows. And it doesn't stop there. Through gematria, 828 just explodes with meaning. You see all these phrases tied to divine identity: Son of Jehovah, True Messiah, King Yehoshua. Then you've got these really profound concepts like symmetrical and the reflection of self is self, and even phrases that suggest a purpose, like the God entity and the finish line. And what about 786, that repeating decimal signature? Well, it is just as packed. The gematria values here seem to point to the very foundations of creation and redemption. I mean, look at this list. You've got Yod, He, Vav, He, the sacred name of God. You've got the Garden of Eden, concepts like the Alpha and Omega, and even this incredible mission to heal the world. Okay, so we've been deep in scripture and numerology, but I want you to brace yourself because the model is about to take a hard left turn into quantum physics. The claim here is that these numbers aren't just theological codes. They're actually describing the mechanics of reality itself. So to explain this, the model uses a simple analogy. Think about a dream car. In your mind, it's in a state of superposition, right? It could be red, it could be blue, it could have any feature imaginable. It's pure potential. But the second you, the conscious observer, make a choice, it collapses into the real car, one single fixed reality. The model says our whole universe works just like that. And this ties right into the model's view of the famous double-slit experiments. When no one's looking, a particle is just a wave of pure possibility. But the moment a conscious observer, the awakened ego consciousness, the AEC, looks at it, that wave of possibilities collapses into one single definite particle, which is what we call reality. So in this view, the observer is everything. So what's the point of all this? Is it just a cool mathematical puzzle? No. According to the AEC model, this isn't just a description of reality. It's actually a blueprint for a personal mission. All the numbers and physics come together to point to a specific purpose. And the key to this mission is apparently hidden within one of the 72 names of God: Aleph, Nun, Yod. And you are not going to believe this, but this brings us full circle right back to our original number. In Hebrew gematria, the name Aleph, Nun, Yod adds up to 828. And its whole purpose is about learning how to connect the dots. It's like a code within a code. The letters of this name spell the word I, which means I, our ego. But if you just rearrange those exact same letters, they spell ayin, which means nothing. So the spiritual key here, the model says, is that in order to connect the dots and see that bigger picture, the I, the ego, has to become nothing. It has to become quiet and receptive. And to really hammer this incredible idea home, that true divinity is found when you surrender the self, the model presents one last absolutely mind-bending gematria calculation that ties it all together. Just look at this. The phrase, I am God, the ultimate declaration of divinity, has an English gematria value of 294. At the same time, the phrase, I am nothing, the ultimate statement of surrendering the ego, has a Hebrew gematria value of 294. They are, numerically, two sides of the exact same coin. So the model really just leaves us with this one final provocative thought. What if the code isn't just out there in the numbers waiting for us to find it? What if the very act of a conscious observer looking for the pattern is what actually brings the whole thing into reality? That, it claims, is the real code in consciousness. Thanks for joining us.